It's 3:30 in the morning and the washer's going, so it'll keep making noise. But look at, like, see, this is more without the light being directly on it. It still is making it look lighter than it looks to me in the thing. But anyways, you can still see how much less hair there is. Like when it's back, then it's just like the white picks up and it looks like more, but it's a lot less than what it appears. And the color is darker. So but this is still, this part, and I don't know if it's just because I'm anxious to hurry now because it's so exciting, but it is, this last part, it just seems slower to me. But anyways, you can see the color resaturating. I don't know what else to call it. Just color coming back into it. So, oh my gosh, every time I start talking, it's like I can't catch my breath. Like, fuck. Also, I'll show the tooth thing. And on the tooth, to me, is the dark part is, it's getting lighter and smaller. And so it's just going to keep getting lighter and smaller, and the white's going to keep closing in on it until all of a sudden it's just going to disappear too. So anyways, and I don't know how long it's going to take. Like, it seems like like in my when I'm doing my visioning, I'm always closing it way faster. like I always, like, I'll go in and look at my tooth and like, did it do it yet? So anyways, but to me, I can see that it's improving all the time. Like, I think it's totally improving. So I don't know, got a snot problem, I swear to God. The snot problem, the weird stomach attack. What's that? Because it was so weird the other day. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Okay. Yeah, is that the other day, all of a sudden, I was doing something, and all of a sudden, right behind my belly button, it started hurting really bad. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was trying to get it in different positions, and I'm thinking, this is something in my intestines. And, through that system, because all that is like, it's like below your diaphragm is basically just your intestines, which last night, somebody was also disemboweled, but they lived. Like, fuck. Like, it's gruesome. If you heard what happened to that guy, it's gruesome. And, oh, because by Seattle. Oh, yeah, because that was like a guy who's over here who goes around to all these towns as things happen. He's always reporting, so people may not know about that. I don't know if it would be on mainstream media. I think it was Lakeland School, and they were having a party or something. It's something really. Apparently Lakeland High School is becoming gang affiliated or something, and they think this is some kind of a gang initiation or something. I don't know. They got this, there's 3 people or something, got this other kid to come. I don't know if what they said. People are constantly luring people. It was a lure, and they lure them, and so then they, oh man, it was gruesome. They beat him, like stabbed him, like all sorts of stuff, and then fucking disemboweled him, gutted him in those. So when he's found or whatever, his guts are all hanging outside of him. But apparently last night he was still alive and in the hospital. So Jesus, and when you heard his injuries, it was like, fuck, dude, man. And more and more on that NOLA situation. Like, the local people are like, this is some bullshit, man. They have barriers they put up in the streets so cars can't go, especially when there's huge crowds, because these certain holidays bring in huge crowds. And NOLA has one of the biggest of New Year's. So they were like, this is a setup. And that's how you gotta see it too. When they do things, and then of course the government's sitting there saying, well, we had to take those down to work on them. And the people are like, yeah, but why wouldn't you do it a couple weeks ago? Why would you do it when it's the biggest population time? And don't forget what's coming up here, Mardi Gras, and they've set up the Super Bowl apparently is supposed to be there. And people who live there are sitting there saying that where New Orleans used to be such a great place to live, and it's completely changed now. They said it's lost hope. Everybody's just hopeless. Is that after Katrina and then these things that keep happening, it's creating more hopelessness, more hate, more division. It's bringing it down. And then people who are from there, like, it's just so sad to watch what's happening. And but New Orleans is going to be underwater, don't forget. It's like not on the new map, so enjoy it while you got it. And I don't know what's coming and how it's going to go. It can go in one storm, you know. Like I saw another weird thing that's going on there is buildings keep collapsing. The third one, I think, yesterday, and it's happening like over a week or something, but buildings keep collapsing. And so, there's a lot going in. There's going to keep being a lot going on. And then I heard somebody else talking about that there was a press conference after the incident, which when I got up in the morning yesterday, so Stella cannot sleep. Fuck. We make it 2 hours. It's like, jeez, I can't even believe it. She's so uncomfortable. And it's so crazy because she looks so good. She smells so good. She's out running in the day. She's having a good time. They've already eaten. It's 3:30 in the morning. She's like not having it. She's starving. I know Elegant Witchery's like, set some rules or whatever. It's like, everybody needs to just take Stella home for a week and see like who's setting the rules. Like she knows what she wants. She's not here for me to, we're here to find balance or something. So anyways, balance between us or something. Because she's my spirit animal. I know some of you guys who have been here for a long time know that. But, yeah, her and I have traveled other lives because I've been shown. And I'll just do a little reminder thing, was when I was a little kid, and every night I would have these dreams. I was a tall, black, lanky guy, and I was walking like in the jungle kind of, but it's not like I wasn't like a jungle it wasn't like beginning man or something. This was like I was a person living in a hut kind of. It wasn't a hut, it was like a house, but it was more open. But anyways, this big giant cat was stalking me, and it came to the house, and it was stalking me, and it killed me. And every night when I would go to bed, I would have this dream, reoccurring. It was like fucking horrible. I was so fucking traumatized. And as I would get older, the dreams started turning into more people being there, my family. I was a killer out there trying to get us. Like it just like the incident wouldn't go away. It just kept morphing into more trauma. And every night was a nightmare. I didn't stop having nightmares until I was like almost 30, I think. And every night, like, I'm not shitting you, how horrible it was. And I hated going to bed. I hated going to sleep because every time I would go to these places, and it was super scary. And so then once I moved over here, and I already had Stella, I got her during traumatic. It was right after my dark night, right after I lost Lucy. And I was very traumatized, just in this period of loss. And she came into my life, and she has I knew our connection from the start, but I just knew like we had this really deep connection, like this psychic connection. Like I can think things and she's gonna respond like there's not. I just like the other day, she goes outside like that. If I go to do anything, they all jump up to run and follow me. And a little fucking monster froggy boy over here, he is like a little monkey froggy boy. And when he stands up, oh my God, it's hilarious. And his little face, he was like, I swear to God, he's a part monkey, part frog. I'm not even sure what the hell this little creature is. And he goes grumbling. And he is a little humper. And he is a mischievous. He is, oh, he's not, I bet he's sitting here watching me say this. But anyway, so, and it irritates the fuck out of me. So I will go out the door and it'll come in, lay down or whatever. And if I go out the door, it's like, see something. I'm like, oh, God, grab that. And I'll jump up, go running out the door. Like, you know, like we're going into battle. Come on, folks. And so they, so Stella went down and she was like ready to conk out. But nope. She didn't want to miss out on the action. So then she goes down to the end of the driveway and she's just laying there. And so I look out the window and I see her. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, cool. I'm going to run in there and make a cup of tea and have a cookie that I don't have to share. And because I have to share every good, like she wants most of the cookies, most of the sweet bread, everything I eat, she's going to eat half of it. And so I think, oh, I'm going to run in there and make a cup of tea and eat a cookie real quick. And I was like, oh, I know she just heard me think that. And I look out the window. Yep, there she is. She's on the porch. It's like, oh, like these connections are like intense, man. So there's no getting away. So anyways, but when we moved here, this is when it unlocked this memory, was because I'm scared to death, you know, obviously, of large cats and wild animals. I mean, it got to the point like I was alligators, sharks. It was constantly these things. I didn't ever have a bear get me, I don't think, in a dream, but definitely alligators a lot, sharks. And so anyways, I grew into this thing of like, fuck, I was traumatized, scared of like predatory kind of animals, I guess. And so then I moved in here and I was, I'm trying to think, because I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't remember. Because you would think I would be thinking like, oh, there's definitely going to be bears and shit out here. But I don't have any idea about, I asked the realtor, I said, well, what's the deal with the bears or mountain lions or whatever? And she was like, oh, you're in a neighborhood. There's nothing like that. And so I was like, oh, okay. So that's safe. And so I'm here, and then back then I was going back to Spokane a lot. I think it seems like the first year maybe I drove back like 6 times or something. But I had gone back and I was at one of my daughter's houses and it was nighttime and I got a message on my phone, a notification. And so I look at it and it says there's a mountain lion in my yard. And I was like, what? And I freaked out. Like I literally freaked out. And it was like all of this childhood trauma just poured back in. I was like, I think I was crying and shaking. I was not even in town. Like, and I was so freaked out. And so I emailed my fucking realtor. Like, how dare you? What are you thinking? Like, I can't stay here. I can't live here. There is a fucking mountain lion in my yard. And then when I got back, and that night, so I'm traumatized and I'm freaking out and everything. And so I go to bed, and then that's when they showed me that Stella was that cat that killed me. And I had enough awareness of spirit animals because I had heard some other, if you want to hear more about them, go and look up like different tribes talking about them. Is that tribes, like, it will explain more of the relationship with your spirit animal, and it go in different lives, and you have different things that they are teaching you. And so, and then it also with Stella, in watching her and stuff and having this awareness, I realized like that she has been a predator animal in a bunch of lives. And I think this is the way I perceive it, is that is one of the things is why she has so much physical problems in this life, It's like the karmic debt kind of. It's like this learning. And it's not like, oh, well, see, you shouldn't be killing other animals. See, it's a bad animal killing. No, it is about learning the perspective from every different perspective. It's not about, you can't do wrong or right. There is no wrong or right. That is a concept that they created for us. And it is, it's way more expansive than that. It's way more about learning and growing through things, not being mad at yourself that you didn't know things ahead of time or whatever. So anyways, that is what my communication tells me, is that is what she is going through. So much physical stuff in this one is because it's teaching her this really expansive consciousness for her soul. This, you know, she's having such a more deeper understanding than just that instinct of I'm hungry, kill, or whatever. I feel a threat, kill, or whatever. And I know she's been other things too, because she has like these certain characteristics of other animals and stuff. So anyways, that is my little lowdown on the history. So then once I realized that she was that, it was like all of a sudden I had peace. And it was like, oh, she's here to protect me now. See how things are going full circle. And so she's here to protect me and watch over me, because she's very attentive to guarding me. Like, I mean, that is all she wants to do all the time. And and she's very attentive to that, but she's also very needy and emotional. She's also here to feel those things, to feel different things and stuff. And so anyways, I know that that has a lot to do with hers and mine's relationship, and we have different spirit. I mean, everything that comes into you is for a purpose. Everything that comes into your orbit is for a purpose. There's nothing that is just like sliding one on by the universe, like, oh, I didn't see that coming. No, it's not like that. Everything is so so complex and so put together, and it's the creation of patterns. And so anyways, let me think, because there was fuck, I keep taking these breaths. It seemed like there was, like, I feel like I'm probably already jumping around for sure. But so, oh yeah, because back on the NOLA thing. So the, not only does that seem like a setup, and now there's more people involved. I guess they're looking for 2 more guys and another girl or something. The whole thing is absurd, because it's all this big part of this awakening show thing. And then we are at this period of time of things falling apart and being in threatening situations. And that is, you know, a part of keeping yourself close, you know, taking care of yourself and not feeding into those impulses of, I just got to go out and have fun. I just got to go out and get involved. I just got to go experience this and that. It's like, I don't know, to me, it's like the shutting down of this impulsive drive, and to self-regulate and start trying to be like more of preparation or something. Especially like right now, I'll tell you something that's weird. So they're saying this polar vortex storm is coming. On my thing on the weather, which my weather thing is always off on my phone, but it says like next week we're supposed to be going up in the 40s, high 40s and 50s. Like, okay, so this giant snowstorm supposed to be coming. I'm supposed to be below 40, below 50, and it's not registering on here. Like, that they don't have any clue it's coming or something. Like, what in the mayhem are they creating? And so much has to do with their creation is so much about chaos. They are really into chaos. And what was this? I was looking at some. Oh yeah, because another thing on the NOLA thing is in they were closing it down. This was from more local people. They were closing it down and not reporting it at the time. I don't know if there is now, as there was one press conference that the one girl was talking about, and somebody on it started telling making a big scene, like, you better tell the truth. You guys better tell the truth and all this stuff. Like this FBI, like, I don't know. The woman's like, what the hell is going on? And so it's like, deadline, truth be told, or we're going to do it ourselves. So I don't know what the fuck is going on, but there's also that they were out gathering all of these BOMBSs. They were all lying down the street, so that they had found a bunch of those. And now it's come out that in the guy's car there was a bunch of those. And now they've made the biggest arrest in Virginia or someplace of which they're saying it's not involved at all. But this guy just so happens to have 130 pipe BOMBSs. And so he's arrested, and whatever the storyline they were saying on him, I don't remember. And but he's not involved in this. Okay, so we just have all these random people that are just getting all these BOMBs ready to go and coming at us. And so and who knows, maybe this guy's selling them to people. Maybe he sits and makes them all day. I don't know, but there's a lot of that going. And so that is also whatever part of this incident. And like Mardi Gras and Super Bowl. I think Super Bowl's first, isn't it? February, and then March is the other thing, I think, because that Tuesday is like the Tuesday before Mardi Gras, isn't it? Like, I don't know. Somebody who's there would know this stuff better. But anyways, it's coming up, and it's not safe. They've made it clear. They're not here to protect you. They are here for the show. They're here to let the bad guys in and see what havoc they can wreak. And I had said the whole time, I've been saying this for 4 years or something, there's instigators everywhere out there. That's what they're here to do, is the to do these kinds of things. They're on payroll. They're here to destroy all of us. So, and then they don't even know. It's like, you're going to be destroyed too, you dumbasses. So, anyways, but whatever I was thinking about, because it was this other video I saw of this, like, all these people are really freaking over okay, I have a bunch of words going in my mouth, head, hold on. The, telepathy tapes. And I'm not even sure what they are. I just keep hearing people talk about them. And all I know is it's some studies or something now where they're like, all of a sudden these people are like, oh, autistic people are telepathic. They're communicating through telepathy or something. And like they thought all these people were just like I don't know. Like, just because somebody has a problem with communicating doesn't mean that they have a problem in here. It is like, and you got to remember, everything is a soul. So it's always like there's dependence on how you communicate. And so, and telepathy is real. Like, I've been saying it forever. I've been doing it since I was a little kid. And talking to, even though I would try and talk to humans, which I've had some conversations that I feel like that these people would have to be aware of. But I've definitely been communicating with these other beings the whole time, because they talk, I mean, that's how they communicate. So I for sure know telepathy is real. It's it's us learning how to communicate with each other. And that is more of the a stumbling block or whatever, because telepathy is real. We just got to learn how to use it better or something. And to me, it is like, I heard somebody saying they've been watching them and that it's so exciting. And so they started trying to communicate with their dog by using their mind and showing pictures to send to their dog. And yeah, there is a lot with pictures, because it is you can have an understanding, like you can show something playing out. That's what they communicate all the time in these visual things. It's like when I hear words, it's not like they're just sitting there talking. It's like you're seeing things, and the things come with like an imprint or something. It is like a familiarity to the information or something. And then, and then there's also words kind of thrown at you sometimes, where they're just throwing words. But a lot of this stuff, it's like this information. It just comes into your mind. And and that's the thing too, is I think that there's so many people that get this information in their mind, and then they don't understand that their brain didn't just all of a sudden create that information. It's coming from communication. And so it's just, and that's just changing perspective. Like you're already doing it. You just have to understand what you're doing. And so that is going to, I think, be a lot of it, is people just understanding what they're doing and looking at it from a different way, because everything is so manipulated. And so that is what got me thinking about this other thing. And it was linked into what I was talking about yesterday. Let me see if I can remember the link. I'll have to see. Because sometimes when I'm in these meditations or something, it's so elaborate. And then I come and I try to remember, I can't remember the stuff. But so oh yeah, because yesterday morning, so when I got up and I heard the fireworks going, and then I was like, oh yeah, it's New Year's. And then I like looked into New Year's, and it was like all I could see was chaos. I was like, is criminal shit going on. And I looked away from it. And I didn't have any idea about what was happening at the same time over there, because all that was happening at the same time, that NOLA incident. And so anyways, but I knew that there was shenanigans going. I knew, this is, they lure us out for a good time, and then we are just, bait out there. And they've got their predators that are, gathering around, and they all have plans and stuff. Like these plans are so much more in depth, and people just, oh no, it's just so weird. Like, there's just, I don't know. It's like they're just led through their impulses, through their desires. They're just lured all the time. It's always been a lure. They lure you with your desires, and you got to get a handle on them for sure. So anyways, I was looking at this, this thing with the telepathy. And so I was, it would just weird me out sometimes, because I've been living this certain way for so long. And then there's all these people that it's like, how does everyone else live? Like, this is so strange when I hear all this stuff. And it's just like, shocking. Like, people are shocked that autistic people can think. Like, it's just as, there's so much weird shit. Like, I don't understand how other people think. So it just weirds me out. So anyways, I was thinking, I was like, man, how did they do that? How did they take us from the 70s? Because the 70s, okay, so when you look at it, it was the 50s and the 40s. They were into this really hard, strong thing about morals. Like, it is crazy. Like, if you can go in and watch a bunch of old movies and stuff, there's so much, like, you got to watch out for some of them, because there's so much propaganda. Like, especially you get into those war ones, the spy ones. There's so much with the horror, sci-fi ones telling the truth about these mad scientists and shit. But there's so much of this overall kind of way of directing us how to think, like, and when I look at it from a distance, when I stand back more, that is when it's like, oh, they're scared of us. They're scared of us. And And it was like trying to put all this pressure on us. I think that is probably why they try and even use religion so hard, is because they're scared. But this is, so they were going hard and strong. So let's just go with this idea of that they were doing this reset. They decided America was the new frontier, and they were going to create their little droid human species race here, and they were going to take over this land, and they were going to kill all the indigenous people and make their own little territory with all their little weird droid people. And so, which, a lot of us white folk are got some kind of influence over, where I still am like, man, they've been just gathering DNA, and then that's why some of us, like, where they say you have 7 people that look like you, maybe they put 7 clones out of the same, I don't know, but whatever. So they decided to create this space and these people, like they were going in on this habitat reality. And so the so then they were kind of scared, like, well, what are these clone people going to do? Do they think? I don't know if they even understood, like, if we had souls or something. I'm not sure what the hell, because it's not like, I don't know. I don't think it's not like there's the alien standing there telling them stuff all the time. Um, uh, yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know. I kind of see it more like the Dracos or whatever, or like the military or something. Like they aren't coming and going down in the labs and trying to explain to them stuff. Like, I don't know, even in that lower kind of vibration, it's more of the capturing the soul or something. Like, I don't know, but it didn't work the way that they wanted, because our souls kept expanding. And so it didn't make it where they could, well, they supposedly imprisoned some people. But anyways, so they had wanted to create this thing, and then they got scared of us, I think. And so then they went hard on this morals, and religion has been around for a long time. They've used it in other places. So it was like that they created this this way of, because back then everybody went to church. Like, it was such a huge ordeal when I said, I don't go to church, I'm not a Christian. When I stopped claiming a Christian or Lutheran or any of those things, and I just started saying I'm just spiritual, and people be like, do you even believe in God? It was like, yeah, it's not like the same as, like, I don't believe that God. And so anyways, there's just a lot of perspective. A lot of people, it's like, it's just limiting perspective, man. And so but it was so strong in our thing, nothing like how it is now. And it was just a way of life. There was a certain way of lifestyle that was going. And so this is where I think things started turning. So it seems like that and I don't know about their other wars. Like, I don't know how much stuff is made up and how much is from different times, not in our reset time, but in a different time. And they just, oh, well, we use that too. We'll tell them this happened or whatever, because they pick and chose our storyline. So so it seems that during Nam is that there was a spiritual awakening. And it was the trauma that was happening started waking people up. And people started feeling and started, and there was so many of these, like, professors and stuff, because I'm pretty sure that is around when the Book of One was written. And that was these professors that were using this girl as medium, and she was communicating with other beings, just like what I'm doing. And then they were writing in a book of all the things that she was saying that they were telling her. And that entity or that consciousness claimed its name was Ra. And so it is the Book of Ra, the Book of One is talking, it's the channeling of Ra. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that, like, there's so much different thing, but I'm pretty sure. And so, and I had read a few of the things, but it was all stuff like, that I already have in my communication. And so it was like, oh, see that, this one seems real. I for sure felt like when I was reading it, because there's a lot of other ones where I'm like, I don't know who they're channeling, but I felt like that they were channeling a higher entity. And so, and you know, it can be like a consciousness, like we are creating a collective consciousness at this point. All of our information is becoming like a brain thought bubble or something. And so it's the creating of this consciousness state. And so it's like an information platform, playground, an information thing. And so, so then we had all these people who started awakening. And like I said, don't forget that all those people too, women just wore their hair just like long and straight and weren't doing all the perms or anything like that. Women weren't coloring their hair. I mean, women were, but younger people. So all of these, and men all had longer hair, and or boys, and lots of young adult men had long hair and stuff. And oh yeah, okay. And so they were all in it, and that's your antenna. So you're gonna feel more. And so you pick up on the energy and stuff, like your hair is a transmitter. And so so it was like all the people were having this kind of thing. And we had professors and scientists that were all studying this telepathy and Ouija boards. Like I said, like my mom and dad had a Ouija board out and they were all playing it. Like it was just like, it wasn't scary. Nobody was scared of this stuff. And, and, uh, and then they would practice doing telepathy and stuff, and there was all that kind of stuff that was going. And so what I think happened was they started seeing that we were waking up and that we were connecting. They didn't want us to connect on telepathy. They didn't want us to start knowing our own abilities. And so they it was almost like a panic or something. But then they just have their way of doing things. So we were at this point of kind of awakening because of all of the stuff that was happening. And then and we were connecting in these other ways. So then they had to come in and disrupt it. And they always use DRUGSs. And so they had, okay, let me see if I can see it again, because I was seeing it. So first, like I said, I think that's when the women's lib thing started, like get them all cranked up on this thing, you know, tell them what they don't have, and which, you know, they get them all like women's movement and stuff during a time period where it was so many women were just happy. They're happy to be home. They're just spending time with their friends, but then they kept making them feel like they weren't good enough. They weren't good enough. Like that's like a low. And then they were bringing the whole next group of women up, being like, oh, I don't want to be like my mother. I'm going to be out there working. I'm not going to be like her, staying home. Now you got all these women who are like, God, I just want to stay home. I just want to stay home. Why did we ever stop that? It's like, because it was part of this thing. We were connecting. And they had to put a stop to it. They were like, hell to the no. We can't, like, our whole experiment will be destroyed immediately. So they, the women's movement, I think, was a big thing. But then it was disco. I swear to God. Because so there was disco that came. And I liked disco. I mean, I fucking put on some disco music. I'm ready to dance, man. And so the disco, and that drew in it. And it is like, was it like at a frequency that was like a Pied Piper frequency pulling people in? Because it pulled so many people into this certain kind of lifestyle. And that lifestyle ended up being really associated with going out partying, and people started doing a lot of drugs. And so cocaine and stuff started really amping up. And this party lifestyle, these big giant clubs too. like Studio 54 or something, like big clubs, big party, big drugs, making it all like, oh, look how fun. Well, get us all fucked up on drugs, and all of a sudden we're not connecting well. And so they were doing that, but think about this at the same time too. So then I was thinking about, remember, then all of a sudden all these rock bands. So all these rock bands were suddenly out just destroying hotels. They were destroying hotels, and they were all on drugs. They were all on heroin. They were all fucked up. Then don't forget also that we had all of these supermodels. And the supermodels were, like, it was like this merging of chaos. And so they were bringing it all together. So it was like we were getting too good, and it was like they had to bring in the chaos. They had to bring us back down. And then and I don't know when they figured out like our hair is our antenna, because I swear to God, when they push in for these things on, like the mermaid color thing, everybody's doing their hair mermaid colors. There is so many fucking steps. You got to fucking bleach all your hair out. Like, that's not good. You're killing your hair. And then you got to put all this other color on. So then you're masking your communication and stuff. So you're destroying your own antenna. And so they figured that out. And perms, that is a heavy duty fucking toxic shit. And I got so many fucking perms. And so they got everybody getting the perms. They made that the hairstyle of the decade or whatever it was. And all of these bands, and they had the hair bands too, and all the makeup. Like they just turned everything in this other direction. But I kept on, being a part of living it. I kept being like, how did that happen? How did they go from that to that? Why didn't that keep going forward? I mean, we'd all be sitting around, nobody'd be talking. We'd just be sending each other messages. We wouldn't, like, if we would have kept going, because everybody was into it and trying it, and seeing, like, I remember my mom and my daughter, my mom and her brother and her mom and stuff, and they like, her brother and her would go in two different rooms and then try and say what the other one was thinking or something. They were trying all these different kinds of things. And I know it wasn't just at my house. It was like a thing. It was like, I think it was probably on the Johnny Carson show, or showing like, oh, this guy can read minds or something. And I know that there was professors and stuff that were out studying, because there was like a lot of different things it came from. Like, there was a lot of testing going on, like these Stanford tests or Yale or whatever, of trying to understand our mind and our connections, and what we will do. Like, there's a whole thing on if you're sitting in this room and they tell you have to push this button, and then but the person on the other side of the button is being electrocuted every time you do it. Like, they've studied those people and who would do that. God, it feels so cold in here. I keep looking over at the fire, keep being like, is it going out? Come on, fire. And so anyways, it was all this movement. They changed our direction. They pushed us in a different direction. It's like they saw the problem, and then they took it and pushed us, and we all just went. We all just went in this other direction. And so everything went towards this partying and doing drugs and all of that stuff. And then they stayed on track with their formula from the agenda that's ends with a 30, not a 25, ends with a 30. And then because it was supposed to be accomplished by the 2030. And here we are, 2025. So we had 5 years left before they had us planned to just be in the smallest cages of life, paying for our every breath that we take, having no connection to anybody, no familial connections. You're just, they wanted us to get down to, you're just a slug. You've got no purpose, no meaning in your life. You're just a weird, organic problem. Like, you go nowhere after this. It's like, God, it's so weird when you think of that, how they told that stuff. And they knew that we were souls, that this is souls. Like, people are caught up in the avatar, but we're talking about our soul thing. And they knew. And that's what gets me, is like how easily they can get everybody to think like why isn't it inside of people that they're like, wait a minute, I'm more than what they're telling me. I know that I have a connection. I know we go someplace else. Like, and I know that I'm not the only one who figured that out or knew it, or, you know, I just had the guides or whatever who always kept it fresh for me. Like, I wasn't getting caught up in this bullshit. And so, but I mean, I was caught up in the bullshit because everything I'd fucking say, people thought I was crazy. And so they just look at you like, you know, you're a weirdo if you aren't on the same narrative. And, I don't know what, like, I know that there was a lot of programming in school and stuff, and they couldn't keep me there because attention deficit or whatever. As soon as the teacher started talking, I was gone. I was out of that room. I was no longer in there. And so I wasn't being programmed like everybody else. But at the time, you know, I felt like something was wrong with me. Nobody knew what was wrong with me. My grades sucked and stuff. But it was all part of, you know, my guide's plans or something. Because even when I was doing those tests, and I was constantly just filling the dots, don't do the test. And I didn't understand. And then after years of doing that, and then finding out, you know, like, you know, they're telling my parents that I may not be the sharpest one, you know. I mean, like, she's got issues. I don't know what's wrong with her, but she can't do these tests, like she can't think or something. And I don't even know how bad my tests were because I wasn't looking at them. And if they asked me, I would say, yeah, I'm reading it, but I wasn't. And then I had no idea why I was guided to do that until fucking decades later when I heard Corey Good talking about that. I was like, oh, that's how they were catching us. That's how they were catching the kids that had the telepathy, is through these tests. Because that's how they caught him. And all these, that's where they were been getting all these gifted kids. They'll stick the gifted kids down, give them a little juice, and redirect them. And so they, and then some of them, they trained them and used them. And there's a whole bunch of stuff. Like, people are having memories and stuff now of these gifted that being in that program. And I'm still wondering, you know, because my one daughter was in it. And it's so weird because I've got so many perspectives on this thing. And because through Corey, through my own, and then my daughter was in the thing, one of my daughters. And so, and the way she says it, but then I look at her programming, and then I look at how her entry into the job market, and there's a lot of stuff that is like, huh, interesting, very interesting, but stupid. It is so stupid. So, anyways, but that is, so it was all intentional. And just like, I just saw this video that was talking about this guy. This guy was just in this video, and he is a young black guy. And so he, that's your visuals, young black guy. And he was very emotional with this. And he was talking about the Bloods and the Crips. And he was saying that they used to be together. They used to be, you know, that it wasn't divided. They knew what was up. They were more a protection of the hood from the people we really need to be protected from. But he said then they created the division and stuff. See, they've done all of this. They've created all of this division to make it easy street for them to take us down. And and in the agenda, it talks about like how they would miseducate us, tell us whatever, these different things, and to create this destruction in the family and stuff. And they've been super successful at that. Like, it's so crazy what a huge movement it is, that how many people think that that's the best way in life, is to cut people out of their lives. Just cut people out, cut them off, just trim the fat, get rid of everybody, surround me with only people who agree with me. Like, that is so limiting. and you're just set up to be controlled. Like, everything that they have been doing to control us has been successful so far. This is like the time period where they push us too far, and the energy is like all the things go together. That's why this is the universe. This is why there is no going around this. This is going to happen because this is a universe action. This is a change in time and space. This is a new pace of life. And the old one is being evacuated. Evacuated, yeah, that is. And so but yeah, a lot of people are like holding on to their desk, holding on to everybody's holding on, like, I gotta keep this though. And it's like, you gotta just let go of everything, it just, nothing matters more than you. Like these people who are over there, they're gonna lose their lives trying to hold on to this land. And it's just like, people, it's all of this expansion of you, your awakening and knowing your importance and your value. And there's just a lot to the awakening, because it has so much more about the advancement of your soul, and in all different all different paths. It's not just like, oh, only the spiritual enlightened people are advancing and ascending. No, every single person is going through stuff. Everybody is having a change of circumstance. Everybody's going through changes in perspective. Everybody's going through changes in relationships and stuff. And as the relationships are becoming a part of your disintegration, then look at them more objective. Don't be so caught up in like, oh, they said something that hurt my feelings, so fuck them. It is and you got to think, like, if you're so willing to cut people off because they hurt your feelings, then your feelings are awful raw. Like, you may want to, work on your feelings. You may not want to go out into the world as just like a raw, open wound, just waiting for somebody to hurt you. Like, you've got to get a handle on yourself. And so much of those wounds are like, it's like a chubby girl feeling bad about herself because she feels guilt every time she eats. She hates herself. Her mom or her dad told her, you're just a little chub. You're not even attractive. She has these messages. She just keeps going. And she's just trying to make the best of life. She's just trying to be happy. She's trying to put on a happy face and go out and be cheerful and be the happy girl. And somebody says something, because these things are supposed to happen. All these things where, somebody said something and then you think, oh, fuck them. It is like, no, you were supposed to hear that. It was supposed to trigger you. And it's what you do with the trigger, though. And so when then they're raw and feeling bad because they feel they're carrying all this guilt and stuff. And then when they think somebody sees something and it's like all this shame, it surrounds them. And so then it's like a lashing back, like, how dare you? And, it's weird. It's because like everybody going around, how dare you, is all trying to protect the toxic side of themselves, the side that you need to heal, that these things coming at you are to push you in that direction to see. And, even, the chubby girl who is trying to eat herself into feeling content or something, to feel safe, is you can stop all those behaviors. You don't have to continue them. Once you start healing your wounds, you have no reason to try and hold everything in there anymore. And a lot of times people don't want to heal their wounds, like towards certain people, because they don't want to hurt somebody else. And, and that is, so they'll continue letting their parents abuse them, because they just want to be a good kid, and they go and their parents just constantly put them down and belittle them, and they just take it, go home, feel bad. They go out and try and be around their friends and smile and act happy, and then any little thing feels insultive, or because they're so beat down and so wounded. And it's going to be more. It's like you're going out into the world bleeding all the time, and you're bleeding to death. And it's like you gotta lick your wounds, man. You gotta acknowledge your pain, and know that you have value, that those things happening, those people doing that and saying that, it has way deeper stuff in your soul's journey. And it's way more about you learning how to love yourself through all that stuff, not being all caught up in it, knowing your own value, even if nobody else does. And that is so important, because there is so many people who don't value themselves because they can't find anybody else who values them. So they just don't value themselves. And all the different things. Everybody's different soul journey. Like, they're all storylines. They're all just storylines for us to witness, to learn from. It isn't like anybody's doing it wrong. Anybody's doing it better than anybody else. Everybody's just doing, it's literally impossible to not do what you were going to do. Like, you will always do what you're going to do. And so you are doing the right thing because you're always doing what you're going to do. So there's no, it's your own emotions, it's your own beat down on yourself to tell yourself, like, you're not doing it good, you're not good enough, you're not doing it right, you should have done it this way, why didn't you do that, why didn't you do that? Like, I just heard this girl telling this heartfelt thing, and she was very traumatized even expressing it, like, to go public talking about this. And she kept saying, please don't judge me, please don't judge me, because she's judging herself so hard. And that's the thing too. It doesn't matter if you're a kid or whatever. When you start looking at yourself, that's where your judgment is coming from. Not from God, it's coming from you. And so she has said that she had been really unpacking this in her therapy sessions. But it was really, she was starting to realize things that she didn't realize when she was a kid. And so when she was a little kid, she was 12 years old, this 19-year-old girl befriended her and started being her best friend. And so the 12-year-old thought, like, oh, look, I'm so grown up, this 19-year-old wants to be my friend. And so she's hanging out with her all the time. Well, now throughout this time, now she's seeing the toxicity of the relationship, the grooming that was going on, all of these things that she didn't see before. And now, she's feeling more shame, like, and that's why she's being so much to the other people, like, don't come in on me, like, I'm already feeling bad enough. And but I feel like I need to talk about this. And we all need to talk about these things, because that is going to help the younger people. Hiding our pain, hiding our suffering, hiding our mistakes isn't helping anybody. It's a lot to stay hidden. It's a lot to hold all your skeletons in the closet and trying to make sure nobody can see. Don't look over here. So, that's a lot of energy you're putting out, rather than just be real and be honest and be authentic and be like, yeah, fuck, man. I was caught up in my ego. I thought I was being so grown up and cool. I had no idea, like, when this girl is saying, let's do this, let's do that, I'm thinking it's, this is what, girls do who are grown up or something. And so she's trying to come up to the grown standard or whatever. And that girl is taking advantage of her, even though it didn't go into total things. There was so much inappropriate stuff. There was so much grooming that was going on. And anytime, like, somebody way older is hanging around someone younger, like, I think that is becoming clear. Even, like, I've talked about this so much, about these older men getting together with these young girls, and it is so fucking toxic to the young girl, because it is all of a sudden, I mean, every storyline has a thing, but we also are here to learn from the storylines. And so her being with somebody who's older, the older person's always going to be telling them, oh, you got to do it this way. Don't do that. Oh, you shouldn't do this. They're not getting to develop themselves. They're not getting to just go out and find themselves. They're being controlled and contained by this older person who knows better. And then there's a pressure of, not being too childish and being more mature, like, following along what they're telling you. They're trying to help you. And it is so much about these men needing to control their world or something, that they can't have this other, they can't have this equal partnership, because they don't, it's like they can't be in that kind of partnership. They need total control. And so they got to control over this younger person who then is missing out. It's like losing parts of themselves because this other person is in control of how you are developing. And so, but that is, that's its own storyline. But when we're looking at storylines and we're going, that's not good, that's not good, that's not good, then that's what they're all here for, is for us to start seeing what works and what doesn't work. And those can be very toxic relationships. Everything about love, though, changes everything. And that is the big thing that they got off of on this whole gay thing. It stopped being about love. Like, it used to be like, well, you should be able to be with whoever you love, even if it's the same gender. Like, it was all about love. And then there was all this like acceptance, but then it went into just have sex with everybody, and everybody just have sex. And then I just know, like, when I was going back into the gay clubs back in the 80s, let's see, when was it? Yeah, it would have been the early 80s. And it was the man gay club, because back then, like, oh fuck, to even find a lesbian bar, I don't even know. Like, people were so mean to lesbians for so long. So mean to lesbians for so long. And gay guys came out faster. And and lesbian clubs were way more on the down low, but gay clubs were fun. Like, me and my friends, we all went because it was fun. Like, it was just dancing, everybody's dancing, and guys weren't trying to hit on you, guys weren't trying to dance with you. You just got to be out there dancing and having fun. It was really fun. But definitely drugs. They were definitely passing around, I can't remember what it's called. You sniffed it and made the room all go crazy. It was called something, I don't remember, some kind of gas thing or something. And he used to have like a name for it. And so anyway, and the lights, and it would be dark in the club, and it was just all these lights and all these men just dancing and jumping around and stuff. It was like a giant dance floor. And it was super fun. But when you went back in, if you went off the dance floor, there was like sex happening just right out there. So that was already going with that kind of situation. And so it was already turning into just like, have sex, just sex. And then that is when the fraud, that little troll time began, is then he brought in the AIDS. And then if you don't know about it, it was his creation. Just go listen to Judy. Like, I don't even know if you're allowed to say her name. I swear to God. I could get you taken down. So I'll say it in a weird kind of phonetic way. Mike, and then O, bitch. So you look for her stuff. She worked for him. She worked in the same kind of thing. And then her trying to put a stop to some of that stuff got her arrested. And like, it's a whole thing. Like, you gotta go in and listen to her thing. But yeah, she's a whistleblower on the fucking fraud. And so and he's such a little fucking troll of a mad scientist, evil fucking demon dude. And so he brought that in, and that turned into, there was so much chaos around it, because there were so many people who started like it got real weird. Like, people were scared to hug or kiss. There was a lot of stuff, but then there's other things where it just kept ramping up. Like, it's just getting worse and worse. And then when it was like a lot of gay people dying from it, then it was the narrative was God was very upset about all this sex. It was all of the sexual stuff. In one sense, I knew that that was true, on the sense of, if you uh, put all that energy into just mindless sex, it's going to backfire. It's going to, there's a repercussion, there's consequences. And so I knew on that sense that all this mindless just having sex with everybody was going to spread disease. Yeah, it's going to. But it's like they set the tone, then introduced the disease, and then it spread like wildfire. And at first, it was very much like, well, you're going to get what you get. Because don't forget, we're riding hard off of this moral thing too. So you had these people who were still, because there's still a whole generation that were still really programmed into the morals. And so, and they have a lot harder time accepting a lot of stuff. And so that, that's just the creation of this division. But there was a lot of people who thought, well, they're getting what they deserve. Don't go out and have sex. Like, just having sex with a bunch of people, it's going to get you killed. And so then it started spreading. I remember once it started going into little kids. And then that's when they're like, oh, it's in the blood. It's in the blood. It's in the transfusions. They're not clean. And so there was a whole bunch of that. And then it started being women started having that weren't gay women, and then they start being like, well, how's this happening? Oh, it's the drugs. So then it was like, it's in the needles. It's in all the drug addicts have got it now. And then there was men who were getting it and then giving it to women, and then it was going in and getting in kids and stuff. Like, it was like, man, that was crazy time during all of that. And and it was scary too. Like, anybody who was out dating during that time, like, look, a lot of us, we would go down and get tested and stuff. And it was scary because back then when you went to go get tested, you had to wait, like, I think it was like 4 or 5 days. You had to wait for the results. And then you had to go down and go get the results and have them talk to you. It was very intense. And that's the thing is what's so crazy is that's what they want to do. They want to build this tension, this chaos, this scary, this repercussion, this, we're going to be, but it was created. Like, all of that was created. It was not real. It wasn't organic. It didn't happen naturally. None of this stuff is happening naturally. There's repercussions. Everything has repercussions. But none of this stuff is happening naturally. This is all happening by the hands of these people who are trying to create this chaotic world that we are scared of, that they control and contain us, and that we keep surrendering more and more because we're so scared that we need them to protect us and save us. Which yesterday, I thought this was kind of cool, was so, I said that the family group chat was all this Happy New Year. There was like a shit ton. And so then one of my brothers, he did one in the morning when I think I just finished recording or something, and it popped up and it did the whole fireworks thing. So I did it back and had more fireworks. So everybody who looks on it would get double fireworks. And then there started being conversation. And one of my brothers, the fireman brother, he has lots of health things because of the smoke thing. When all those guys who breathe in all that smoke, and I didn't know about all that. Like, I didn't put all that together until he was having something wrong with his heart or something. And he said that the doctor said to tell your siblings that they should get checked. And I went, I told my doctor, and then she said, oh, he's a fireman. Then that smoke inhalation causes them tons of different problems. And so then I was like, oh. So she said it's unlikely that you would have any of the things that he would have. And so all my stuff checked out fine. But he's constantly got these different issues. And so he said, let's, in his message, he said, this year is going to be about everybody getting in good health, like taking care of your health. That's direction, and just focus on your health. And I said, I did that like 4 years ago. And I start, like, I don't know, bragging. I'm sure some people were like, okay, bragger. And so I'm like saying, you know, all these different things that I've been doing for my health, even like fucking healing my tooth and stuff. My hair is changing colors. And I told him, you know, that I don't have much, uh, I said gray, even though it's white, but I said I don't have much left now. And I said my hair has been turning. It's, all that stuff. So he said something. He's always snarky or smart aleck. So he says something, and so all I needed to do is cop or whatever it was. I can't remember. So anyways, I started talking to him, and there was a lot in the group conversation, but then it moved over to private, and he was asking me a lot of questions and stuff, and I was telling him a lot of different things, and so and I didn't say all my crazy stuff, but I was telling him like different things to take care of him, and he said his hair is totally white now. He's 7 years younger than me, and he said his hair is all white. He always had really blonde hair. He was the sibling he had, because all of us, my sister and I basically had like the same kind of hair color. And the only difference with us was I was super tall and skinny, and she was shorter and more shapely. And I was tall and lanky. And but her and I had like the same color hair and the same kind of skin tone, lighter kind of, but she never goes out like in the sun. I always was like somebody to go out and bake in the sun. So her skin is even whiter. And so, and my skin now has got lots of skin damage and stuff. And I always had tons of moles and freckles and stuff. So, anyways, then my other brother, he has red hair. And, which, you know, like even having red hair back in the day, like that was some challenges growing up. Having red hair, like when people, it was kind of like, you know, an albino dog or something. Get rid of the redhead, kid. And I just think there's got to be something that carries like a long thing about the red hair and the giants and stuff. I don't know, but that's where the red hair introduction into our society comes from. Apparently, is the redheaded giants, and so so anyways, he's got red hair, and we all have these infiltrations into our lineage and our stuff. So we all have where other beings have infiltrated our lineage with their demon semen. That's funny. No, their DNA. So okay. So anyways, the I told you they have like there's a sense of humor. Definitely, the universe definitely has a sense of humor. And so the so anyways, the so but we were all light skinned, and my dad was light skinned and white hair, and he always had white hair, and he had a red beard though, and real blue eyes. He looked like a movie star. He looked a lot like uh there were certain ones that really looked like him to me. I can't think of, I don't know. Uh, John Voight is coming into my mind. But anyways, they kind of like Elvis too. He kind of had this like, he was very charismatic. Oh yeah, and that's the thing that the young kids do, is this like Riz or something. Yeah, I do like the Riz because charisma, it does make a difference. Like I said, even talking about like that Aiden guy, like there's a lot of guys that look like that don't come out. Look at me, they're so of a draw of their charisma. Like you can lose your charisma by being down on yourself. And so my dad had a lot of charisma, and he was real. He was big and tall and handsome, and he was predator. Like I got a lot of different perspectives in life. But anyways, so but my youngest brother, see, because my mom was dark skinned and dark hair. And so she always was like, what the hell? Why don't I have all these kids? None of them look like me. They all are light skinned and light haired. And my brother, though, he had really dark skin like my mom, but he had really white hair like my dad. And then he had hazel eyes. So the rest of us, we had blue eyes. He had hazel eyes. And so he did get like a little bit of a different mix. But now, anyways, he's saying his hair is totally white now. And then once it goes white, then it starts turning into cotton and kind of just like disappearing. I was like happening with my eyebrows even. Like, I'm so excited to have them becoming so dark and everything going back. Like, the hair, like, I can, like, I feel it so much more now. Like, before, it was like the hair was so fine and so white. And it was like, oh my gosh. So, but it all starts coming back in color and coming back to its texture once you start going back with the minerals. And so, I told him that you can turn your hair back, but you got to do the copper and the magnesium. So he has those mule cups, which some of them are copper, but some aren't. Some are ceramic lined or something, so it may look like copper on the outside, but inside it's not copper, so you're not really getting the benefits of drinking out of copper. You just have one that looks like it. So I don't know if his is or not. I'm going to keep in touch with him, though, because if he starts going backwards, like in his complaint, what his health issue is he's got some strange asthma thing now, which my one sister, she's like, well, that makes sense. Like, you're breathing in fucking smoke all day. And I said, get Mullen tea and you won't have asthma anymore. And so he, like, just a couple further down in the thing, he's like, I already ordered it. It's on the way. So he was taking it serious about the stuff I was saying. So, and I was kind of overwhelming him. And I was like, well, I talk about this stuff all day. Like, nobody in my family knows what I talk about. This is what's so strange. Nobody knows. Like, this is so weird. And so, I'm like, I've been, like, I've really been focused on my health. I had to start focusing on it over, like, I was being pushed a lot to focus on it. And don't forget, too, like, I was going blind, and my eyes are, like, almost perfect again. Like, there's a little spot that has an interference, and it's just so happens to be quite close to the botulism thing. So I kind of feel like that there's that, but it also, because of the brain injury, that it damaged my eyes, because when my brain was herniating, it was pulling the suction, because this is an enclosed system it's a enclosed pressure system. And so once the system was opened, then it started sucking, and so it was sucking my brain and my eyeballs out. So it damaged them, and whatever damage, and then with the botulism in my face, that I think just handy dandy went right over there. And this still starts getting it's way tiny now, and it does seem to calm down every time, like, I put castor oil on it or something. So I'm sure it's getting better. Oh yeah, I didn't even finish with the stomach thing, because that was so weird how it started hurting so bad that I took some horse paste. I was like, I swear to God, an alien's about to come fucking bust into my goddamn belly button. And it was freaking me out. And so I took that, and it seemed to make some kind of difference. But now again, then last night, my belly button started leaking out some kind of stuff. I don't know what the fuck, man. What in the holy hell? This stuff is so fucking weird. And, oh yeah, watch Prometheus. If you haven't seen it before, watch it. But if you haven't seen it in a long time, watch it again. It popped up yesterday to me. And I didn't watch it fully, like, just sit down and watch it. It was way too chaotic here. But, definitely, there's so much stuff in that movie. And let me think. Okay, because I bounced over there to the belly button thing. What was that I was talking about before that? So the before the belly button, before that, this if I go off, then it's like, I'm off of the thing. Yeah. Okay, let me just think of somewhere else where I was at. And so, oh, the mail. Like, I swear to God, I don't know what the fuck with the mail. Like, I can't even believe it. Like, I am watching a couple of packages, and it's just like, I am not shitting you. Go to Fife, wherever the fucking Fife, Washington is. Go to Fife. Then it's gonna sit there for a couple days. Then it goes Seattle. It's gonna sit there for a couple days. It's like, what in hell? And then like it was in well, I know these packages was in Carrollton, Texas for a while. Then one's in Colorado for a while. Just keep sitting there. Packages just keep going to places, and it's just like they're just passing them around, and then they just go and sit there and sit there and sit there. I don't know if it's a lack of employees. I don't know if it's a chaos. I don't know if it's being done on purpose. I don't know. All these things are going to keep falling apart. That's what I do know, because it's a part of a faulty system. It's part of a system that is taking from us. And man, I have so many things popping in my mind. And then I have the guy back with the Bloods and Crips, like he was going off, man, because he was like trying to get people to understand what is going on. And I can see it. I 100% can see what he's talking about. Like, as I've been saying it, like, I think more and more people wake up and see these things and see through it. It's like you just start seeing through shit. It's like you look at something and you just see through it. And it's like, man, and it's all such shenanigans. It really gets me too, is that how much that this division was created, and how much that they did it to try and affect into families, like to get people to turn on their family and reject them and stuff. And people don't realize how isolating that is, like how much you isolate yourself by doing that kind of stuff, and how much more productive it is to heal. And the biggest thing too is, like I said, like, you know, like the chubby girl who's out there, you know, and somebody hurts her feelings, and she just takes it on, you know, goes home and eats, hates herself, is mad, doesn't want to be around them or whatever, is that when the people okay, let me see where I can see that again. Because when the because it's difficult to stand up for yourself or have boundaries, especially difficult to stand up for yourself if you don't love yourself. If you feel like you're embarrassing, you feel like you should be ashamed of yourself, you feel like you're not good enough. And this is something that's so important. It's just because these two people brought you into this world, they are not the be all end all. Their opinion is not, you don't have to. Well, I think it's so important, instead of beating yourself down for your parents, is to realize that that's their brokenness. You don't have to take it. You don't have to carry it with you. You have to be able to look at them and not see yourself as broken, not see, like, if they're being belittling and hateful and ridiculing you and trying to control you and all of those things, those are all their problem. None of them was ever your problem. They were their problem. It only becomes your problem when you take it. And when you start taking it on as your problem, and you start trying to, you know, change yourself to please them, and then you get more frustrated because you can't please them, because these kind of people you can't please, because they need to heal something. They've got something, and a lot of times you are here to be that catalyst to their healing. But a lot of people just and that is one of the things, like, in our soul's journey in all these relationships, there's extra challenges, because you have feelings about people from other things, other lives, and other circumstances that you've lived with them, but you don't have the awareness of that. And so you there's so much, like, see, confirmation, there's so much about this perspective. I think it's such a valuable perspective, is to try and understand your soul's journey, trying to understand that you're a soul on a journey to wherever it is you're journeying to. Like, I'm not going to say a spiritual journey, because I don't think every single spirit is into that. Like, I think that there's some spirits, like my spirit is focused on that, but it's not all spirits are. So it's not like you have to be this super spiritual person in order to ascend or something. It is much more about being in a balance with yourself and being in understanding your role in this world and taking your place seriously. It is it's a different way of looking at yourself and your journey. That is that's the ascension. That's the, going up to a new level. You're taking yourself, you're bringing yourself up to a new level. You are taking the steps to go to a new level. But it's not like every single person has to become, deluxe meditators and know which crystals do this and all of that stuff. You don't have to know everything. You have to know what you need to know to find peace in your life, to find that that you are valuable, that you're important, not just to the people around you here, but to the whole motherfucking universe. You're just as important as anybody. There's nobody more important than you. We all have an equal importance. We all, it's like, it'd be like the universe being like, well, we need all of these, like you, yeah, you getting your gallbladder cut out because you don't need that part is, you not giving all of your all of your cells the same importance. And so that is the part of our learning on the micro macro, like the importance of everything that we came with. What we came with, we needed to keep. And they wanted to, Dr. Frankenstein us and cut us apart and see what's up. And then even this whole idea of this, creating this concept of there being able to be something to cut up and stuff, because it's so weird, is that we are literally like a hologram. It's like you're just a reflection. It's because just to always consider the perspective of when the frequency changes, we don't splatter out into blood and guts everywhere. No, we change into our little energy cells or whatever, and then you go into a different frequency, slow it down, and then you appear again. So it's all in frequency. It isn't a real thing that you are flesh and blood. That is a concept that they created in order to control, contain, and to experiment on us or something, because then we line up to be worked on. And see, from when I was a little kid and I had all of these certain issues, like I had so many issues with my stomach, and I had no idea what was wrong. And my family didn't know. And I would have these horrible, horrible pains. Oh my God, it was so horrible. And they would take me to the hospital. They could never find anything that was wrong. Once I got in nursing school, and after understanding, I think it was probably more in, I started figuring it out more in anatomy and physiology, when I was learning more about the body inside, the structure and stuff in this concept, is that we have all these sphincters. We have all these sphincters all throughout our body that open and close to let things go through. Fluid, like, because this whole system, once something goes in and then it has to come out, it has to go through a lot of chambers. And so it moves its way through these chambers in order to give nutrition throughout your body. And so as it moves through there's sphincters that control it. So there's just muscles that close and open and close and open. So I think that the sphincters inside my stomach were spasming, and I couldn't get them to stop. So it was like a muscle cramp inside my stomach. It was horrible, horrible feeling. It was like, it would feel like my stomach went into like if you've ever had a leg cramp or something, it would do that inside my stomach. It would go into this severe cramp and I couldn't get it to stop. And what I started doing, because this went on for years and years, what I started doing was I would lay real still. And even when I could feel it coming on, I would immediately just go lay down and lay real still and try and relax, try and relax, try and relax. Because the more I would get upset, the more it would close in. And it was horrible. Once it closed in, it was like couldn't stop it. Like when you have one in your leg or your foot, you know, you're hitting it and doing all that stuff. There's nothing you could do inside your stomach. It was horrible. And see, and then we go to the Western medicine to ask them to fix us, to, you know, help me, help me. And they're a bunch of fucking mad scientists. They're like, yes, please come to my laboratory. And, you know, we're just like, okay, you gonna help me? I was like, sure, come on, sister. And so now I see it though as like these things that were happening were there to teach us things, to help us, like, you know, I mean, we're completely misguided, so there's nobody sitting there talking to me, nobody telling me about past lives or different things, because it's just weird how many things I had with my stomach. And then, you know, all that time later, and I go and that woman tells me, you were stabbed in the stomach. And I had the birthmark on my stomach. I had two. And they always drew my attention as a kid. I was kind of embarrassed of them. I was like, well, does everybody else have these marks on their stomach? Like, what the hell is this? And I knew that there was something to it. And, but I wasn't sure. It took a long time later when you start looking into, I don't know, maybe it's reincarnation stuff or something. And you'll start seeing that people are born with the wounds that they died from. So you have something like somebody who is born with a big birthmark that's going like all right here. That is because there was like, burp, burp. So, we have these wounds that we carry into this life. Well, you think about it, there's got to be a reason, right? There's gonna be a reason. Why wouldn't that just stay back there? It's following you, it's coming with you because it's something you're holding on to. There's something that you didn't need to process through. There's something still attached. So there's still more to the storyline. It hadn't completed yet. And it may be because you have more perspective to endure, to realize in order to move forward. And so but once we start teaching this, which I think there's a lot of kids that are going to be teaching their parents, because I hear a lot of kids, like, and I was one of them, and I was telling people, nobody would listen to me, but now I got a bunch of kids telling people things, and so I think there's going to be, it's a part of the big wave, a part of the big movement, but but once we start looking at things differently, like if I would have, you know, I've been told like, well, whatever's going on with your stomach, there's something you need to go in and meditate. You need to go talk to your guides. And you need to try and figure out what's going on. And, but see, we're not directed that way. But I think that's the direction that we're going towards. Like, I think that we're about to change our approach big on how we deal with things in life and stuff. And, you know, part of it is going to see all of this shit blowing up in front of us and seeing the nefarious intentions of these people who tell us that they're here for our health, but really they're here to profit off of it. I mean, they wouldn't be giving you pills that were causing more problems if they were really trying to help you. And they know. Like, they know. Now they're coming up with other side effect pills. Like, I mean, it's absurd. They want to fill us with so many chemicals. That was one thing I said, too, when I was in the conversation with my family. Is like, we're organic. You got to stay away from the chemicals. And I'm going to get them more to try and see more on the detoxing and stuff. Like, all you can do is keep saying it. But I was thinking, boy, if my brother really does this and really, because he already ordered the Mullen tea, he ordered something else. Maybe it was magnesium or something. He's got his copper cup and he said, okay, I'll go start out slow. You're overwhelming me. So whatever, I'm going to ask him like in a week or two if he's seeing any difference in his hair. If he's not, I'm going to tell him he needs a different cup. And because you should be seeing something within a week or two. Is something. To me, I just start being like, ah, man, my hair's changing colors. I swear to God, my hair's getting darker. And that's when I started paying attention. And I even did the video, said, you guys, I think my hair's getting darker. So we're going to start watching this and seeing. And then other people started saying, it is getting darker. It's definitely working. And so I was monitoring on TikTok and stuff. And definitely people were like, yeah, it's changing. It's changing. And you can totally see, like, back before when I started this shenanigan, it was this, all this was white. It was even, there was so much hair that was falling out. It was so white and so fine. So it was all, this was white. This was starting to be all white here. This was white and went back to like, all of this was white. And because I would pull my hair back and this would just all be white. And then it was the white, what was I gonna say? The white, there was something I was about to say. So that was all going white, or it already was white. This was white. This part right here, that is still the last to go, this part, this was even becoming just like, the textures were definitely changing. This was becoming really super cottony, and it would always be sticking out. It was always just like whoosh, cotton sticking out. And then so the texture starts changing too. But there was still something I was gonna say about so people started noticing, and I can't remember. There was something else I was gonna say, but that's how much because back in here too, that is when, this is the part that I noticed first, is I was like, man, my hair is getting darker. I swear to God, it's getting darker. And so it was all the little white pieces that were all in my hair. Those all started changing really quick. So that is what I noticed first. And then once we started watching, then it started being like, oh my gosh, it keeps changing and changing and changing. So yeah, it used to be so much more white. And you can look back at the old videos. I don't remember how long I've been doing this now on the hair thing. I look back because I got my cup like a year or something before I started drinking out of it every day. Because when I very first got my copper cup, I thought it was, because it's Ayurvedic healing stuff. And so I was really into like all the healing and all of that stuff. So when I very first got it, I was like, oh, this is going to be so good. I'm going to drink this big thing of copper water. I'm going to feel so much better. And so I got my cup, put the water in it, let it sit overnight, and drank it down the next day. And didn't even know that you were supposed to dump the first batch, and didn't even know you're not supposed to just let it sit overnight. For you got to start out more slowly. And so I just went in hard right away and had no idea, and got super, super sick. And it's kind of like when you get sick from it, it's kind of like every time you think of it, it's like, ugh, I can't drink that. Ugh. And it wasn't like I was puking or anything, but I was so nauseous. Oh my God, I was so nauseous. And so then it took time for me to get back on it. And it was weird. And I have no idea. I was like, this is just how my guides work. They bring me information. And whatever the information that was going at the time, and it was something about maybe something that I was going through or something. And it said, oh, take vitamin D and magnesium. And so I was like, oh, and it was probably all of the joint pain and stuff, all of these muscle pain and things and stuff, because the magnesium helps a lot with that. So it was probably, I had a video that was telling about that. And so, and you need vitamin D in order to make the magnesium absorb. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I got the magnesium and the vitamin D, and then something else was like telling about the copper. So I just started doing them. I just was doing them. I didn't realize what was going to happen, even though I had heard before that it would change your hair color. But I didn't, I wasn't catching on as to what was going on until I did it and I started having it happen. And then I was like, oh, it's the minerals. They've removed them from our food. We need them. without them, we age. And they are not only doing that and lying to us, but they're also flooding us with all of these toxins and parasites and stuff that are making us sick. And so I started seeing through it so much. And once I realized like aging is fake, and then it was like just like the door, the floodgates open, and all of a sudden it's like, fuck, you just see all this shit and you just understand it. And so that is when I start being like, aging's not real. Aging's not real. You start trying to tell people, and everybody's aging, and they're like, yeah, okay, crazy. It's like, but it's not real. And that is, it's going to be a big thing too. You watch when it becomes like mainstream, is how many people are so deep in their aging and how far back they have to go. But it's going to be worth it. Like, you just go back as far as you can go. Just start reversing. Start taking care of yourself. It has, to me, so much to do with the changing your lifestyle and making sure that you're getting minerals. Like, it's minerals. It's not just vitamins. Like, they had us on vitamins. Like, that was a big thing for a while. Like, there was people who were taking like fucking so many vitamins a day, and then it was like, oh well, you take all those vitamins, they don't even absorb, they just go through your pee, so you're just kind of wasting money. And so that's one reason why I say you got to do if you want iron in your blood, like if you got anemia or whatever, you need the iron, but you got to cook on the cast iron. The iron has to absorb into the food, then you eat the food, and then the food absorbs into you, and then it absorbs the iron into you. There's all sorts of people who take iron supplements, and it doesn't absorb into them. That's a whole thing. Like, you can go listen to other doctors talk about it. Other doctors. You can go listen to doctors talk about it. And so anyways, it has to do with absorption, and and you need these different ones. Like, you need to have, your body needs to not be deficient in iron in order to absorb the magnesium and the copper and the vitamin D. Like, it's like a domino thing. You have to start here to get there. Oh yeah, you ordered the mineral salts. That was the other one. And so, which those are all good starts, man. It's really good. And so, if he starts clearing his lungs up with this mullein, you bet your ass it will spread around through those firehouses, and he starts aging backwards, like, that will spread. Like, see how things will just start spreading and spreading and spreading, but see him coming and being open to it. Like, I'm going to start really focusing on my health now. This is my year of focusing on my health. And it's like, great. Like, I've got so many things I can tell you. And everything is like, you want to go natural because we are organic, and you can't put chemicals on an organic thing and think it's going to, you got to go with your same main frame. Go with what you are. You're organic, so you need organic things. And so we need natural, not chemical, not synthetic, not stuff that they created. And so anyways, when you start absorbing the minerals, and then the lifestyle, to me, the lifestyle changes that need to be is like, minimal consumption on things that are bad for you. Being very aware and really, doing the tally for yourself, and figuring out, how much toxins can you take in, and be really aware of that, because everything is affecting your system, because everything is this filter system, and they are doing everything they can to clog the filter system, which is causing so much problems with people getting the CA. And so all these people got all this cancer and stuff because of all this filtration system clogged up. So you got to keep your system clear and clean and running. And so you have to look at, what you're consuming, how it works in that arena, in that direction. And so the awareness of like detoxing yourself. And so mine is always these detox teas in the morning. Like, well, I drink these teas all day long. And but and everybody's got to find the stuff that works for them, because there's all different things. Like, I can go through my whole list and tell them, but you may need some different things. And so, but I can, do all my things. My lifestyle is definitely leaned very much into my health for years now, and there's benefits to it. And then you start seeing the benefits once you start leaning in. But see, they get everybody to veer out. Well, you're aging. Just go enjoy your life. You're getting old. Enjoy your time while you got it. And, you find all these people just sitting around drinking and just aging and talking about how weird things are now and stuff like that. It's like, they just say, that's your surrender. You don't surrender to these people. You don't listen what the fuck they say. And so, choosing a healthy lifestyle, you're going to see the benefits. And choosing you, and a healthy lifestyle also would have more to do also with emotional and spiritual. Like, you got to be, I don't know, if you sit right spiritually, you're going to feel good. You're not going to feel tension. You're not going to be scared of every single thing that's happening. And like, oh, well, this isn't even real. Like, this isn't even our real life. I'm leaving here. I'm going home. So, you're going back to your real life. You're going back to where your real existence is. And then you think like, well, if my real existence is so peachy keen, why in the hell am I coming down here? What am I coming and doing in this damn place? And that's where you start realizing, oh, it's because I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm expanding. And then it's like, well, why would there be all this just for my expansion? Because this is how the universe expands. It expands in our growth. And our movement is the evolution of the universe. It's everything evolving, and everything evolves in all different ways. That's why I'm saying, like, don't just get caught up like everybody has to be on this spiritual thing. As people's spirit awaken and they realize their spirit, they get themselves all caught up in ego. But not everybody is, not everybody's on the same path to enlightenment. But there is this path that you're going in order to, let's see, where am I? Oh, yeah. But you are on this path to learn to love yourself, to love everyone, and how to have a loving day, because that's what it's all about. And so I've been talking a long time. And so anyways, I'll talk to you tomorrow. See you later. Bye.